Hi everyone, this is a pop art tutorial of how to create pop art photography using both Pixlr.com and Photoshop. So whichever program you're choosing, if you need, follow along and you can choose whichever fits you best. So we're going to go through just really quickly. We did this in class. Andy Warhol, very iconic pop artist. Of course this is screen printing, not photography, but you get the idea, and we can duplicate this in our Photoshop programs. So it's about repetition, it's about pattern, it's about popular culture. So this was the popular culture of the time and what was iconic to the time period. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick something and photograph it that is iconic to your generation. Here's an example. Little puppy dog. It could be an animal that you love. It could be gaming controller. It could be your Converse sneakers. Something that you feel is iconic for your generation. So it could also be a portrait or a style of someone. If you choose you want to select and do a close-up, you can, and you can even choose to do 6 frames instead of the 4 that I'm going to show you. But also think about like what you use all the time. You know, is it your phone? Is it the apps? You know, what can you photograph? So here you see different types of textures as well that are applied to make it look even more pop arty. And here's also an alternative. If that's not your style and you think it's a bit much, then you could do a little more subtle and compose it and put it together in just a little more of a artistic composition. So you're going to take your photograph, whatever you chose, and you're going to, I'm going to do File, New, and I'm going to open an image, and you're going to find one you chose. These are not very pop arty, but I'm going to use them anyway. I'm going to choose this because it's got a lot of color. And then once you have your image opened, you are going to go to your adjustment layers and add a hue and saturation. This changes the colors as well as the saturation, which is the intensity of it. So I'm going to do teal. So File, apply it. Once it's applied, I'm going to save this as teal or whatever color you chose. Download it. Come on. And then I'm going to basically go and change it again. If you don't want to just apply it again, you can go back in your history and repeat it. Hue saturation, change this to some purple. I'm going to bump up the saturation because why not? Pop art. File, save. So you can see rinse and repeat this 4 times. Download. So I'm saving them, I'm downloading them, and then I'm going to put them into one composition. And adjustments, you can also add another one and change it on top. So apply. I'm going to save this as pink. Download. Feel free to skip forward in the video if you're anxious to see the end. And then I'm going to do one more hue saturation of a different color, some green. Okay. So unfortunately, what I've discovered in the format that we're in with Advanced X, or Advanced E rather, is that there's not an easy way to put your composition together. So what I have decided to do is to go back to Pixlr.com and use Playful X now, and I'm going to create new. And you see how your traditional is the 1920 by 1080. I'd like you to double that. So let me get my calculator out. 1920 times 2 is 3,840. 1080 times 2 is 2,160. And if you want, you can pop art or save it later. So I'm going to zoom out a tiny bit so I can see. And of course I flipped that the wrong way, but you can get the idea. I'm going to use my image, add image, browse, go to my downloads, and I'm going to put them in. So obviously this should have fit horizontally or vertically, and you can change that, but I might as well just flip them and place them in, and that didn't exactly work. If you look, I have too much space, but if this happens to you, you're going to do what I'm going to do in a second and just crop it. So apparently the document that I had in the advanced was different size than what is the traditional starting size in here. So you can check that if you want to be perfect. Otherwise, just do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to crop it and save it and rotate it then. Okay? And the last one, teal, add to current, turn it around, and make sure it's correct. And if it's not perfect, no worries. What you're going to do now is crop it, enter, and then you can save it. After you save it, you can turn it the correct orientation. Okay, so you see you have now your op art picture. Alright, so that's in Pixlr. Photoshop, it does make it a little easier. You do it all in one, and I feel like it's more concise. So we're going to create new. And in Photoshop, I'm going to do this individually, so I'm going to have a width of 5 inches. You can change it from pixels to inches, make sure. And I'm going to put 7, and I have it as a vertical, so 300 pixels per inch is create. Now I'm going to File, Place, Linked, and I'm going to go to my pictures. My desktop, photography, pictures, place it in, and adjust it so that the frame fits. You can enter. Now all I have to do is the same concept, but over here is where my adjustments are, and here is the same icon, hue, saturation. So I'm just going to change my colors, bump up my saturation, do the same thing. Save as, JPEG, teal. Okay. Now I could delete this layer and do it again, or you can just continually edit this. So File, Save As, red, it's very bright and vivid, JPEG, save, okay. Let's see, what else can we do? Is it purple? File, Save As, purple, And one last time. Whoa, that's beautiful. Alright, File, Save As, Blue. We'll do them kitty corner opposites of each other because the blue and the teal. Save. Okay. And now, in the same program, no, I don't need it to save. I'm going to create new and literally just double it. 10 by 14, create, and then place linked my blue, 1, enter, file, place, linked my purple, bring it down here, it'll fit perfectly in, enter. You can see the layers are adding up. File, place linked again, grab the red, enter, and file, last but not least, our teal, and enter. So now all I have to do is resave this as a JPEG final project pop art, and this is what you will hand in to your Google Classroom. Okay, if you get to the end and you're like, oh my goodness, that's not my colors I want, you can also add a hue saturation on the top and have fun and do it a few times if you want. You know, you can save it. You also can take individual layers and use your square selection tool, get it a little more accurate than that. And anything that you select, make sure it's highlighted over the correct one. Now I'm going to add the adjustment there. If you weren't a fan of that color in the end, it didn't quite work. You know, so now maybe I didn't want 2 blues, so I'm going to, you know, change that up. Okay, so there's another option. See, it only has that area selected. Alright, I hope you enjoy this project and have fun, and let me know if you need any help. Thanks, guys.